direction. Just look around and find at least something good. All you need will come to you. I'll never end your stare.
Welcome back to Two Canadians at Kafe Lise, a Vigor Podcast, episode 20. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Anton, and with me is the other host,
DJ Spencer.
and today we're going to be doing our Season 9 preview. It's just a few days, less than a week until Season 9's released. It was supposed to have been released last Wednesday, but then they extended the Battle Pass by a week. For us, it's Saturday right now when we're recording. When you're listening or watching this, it'll be Monday. But yeah, so when you watch this, there'll be a couple days left on the Battle Pass, or a day, because I think it ends on the Tuesday, and then and quite often the new season will come out on the Wednesday. That's typically how it's been going. So we're doing our preview now. It would have been nice if it was a review or like a be able to talk about it as playing it, but we're doing it as a preview because otherwise it'd be way too long in the future before we get a chance to talk about it. So we figured let's do it now. We're excited for this season, and so we really want to talk about it. There's some really great things coming in this season. So we'll talk about some of the new stuff being released. We'll talk about the Battle Pass, what we think of what's coming in the Battle Pass. We'll go over some of the updates to some of the game modes as we're talking. And then we'll, near the end, we'll talk about some of the bug fixes that they're doing and other little things like that. But I think the big news that came out earlier this week has to do with next-gen consoles, where they announced, and it was a little messy, but the way they announced it was that 60 frames per second was coming to PS5. And it's like, okay, great for PS5. But then in the comments, they explained, as people were saying, well, what about the Series X and Series S? And they explained, no, it's coming to all next gen. So all the next gen consoles getting 60 FPS. That's really exciting. I don't know how it's going to affect things. I know I've watched streamers who've talked about it, and they say that they've actually noticed a difference even on like a standard 1080 display screen. They've noticed the difference in 60 FPS. So that's kind of cool. And both of us have Series X systems, so we're both really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it sounds like the animations are a lot smoother and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. And I'm a little curious about like how, like I don't think there's going to be a big advantage over like the other consoles, because like there's so many games that already are optimized for like next gen consoles, right?
Yeah.
But like you don't really see like a big controversy about like older consoles like the 1S and 1X and stuff like that being like at a disadvantage, right?
No. And
so
we already play with because the Xbox players get mixed in with the Switch players, and there is a graphics difference for sure. The Switch doesn't get quite as dense a graphics layout. They don't maybe don't have quite the rendering distance. But players on Switch can do quite well still. I do know of some players who only play on Switch because that's all they have, and they do quite well. Maybe it'll hold them back a little bit. Just having that little bit of limitation in rendering and maybe lag. I don't know. Might play a little bit of a difference. But I don't. It's not enough. I think that's going to be so overpowered for them that it's unplayable. And so I think this is going to be the next step of that. So the people with the next gen consoles, they'll have smoother graphics. Everything will look nicer. But I don't think it's going to be. I guess we won't know until we see it. So game changing that you're going to have to drop on anybody, right?
Yeah.
Because even on the next, well, I haven't noticed it so much. It depends on where you are. When the mortars hit and you get like all those explosions happening, you can get that lag or choppiness that can really affect you. I don't think like having at 60 FPS is going to change that. It's just maybe it'll make it look a little nicer.
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah. And what's exciting too on top of this is the fact that in the press release, Dave, and I think in the dev stream as well, uh, or no, they didn't talk about it in dev stream because it came out on the in the tweet. So, anyways, in the press release, they actually talked about this kind of being like a stepping stone to like improving the graphics down the road even more. Where
Right.
like you know, shadows are going to be you know, better quality. Um, like sharpness is going to be like even better.
Yeah.
Like this is exciting because like it's not here's your next gen console optimization. This is it. It's like no, this is you know like the first step, and then there's going to be more added to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely
And
cool.
yeah, and and you because you say you play do you play in 4K?
Yeah, I have a 4K
Yeah.
TV.
And so you notice a difference between regular and 4K, I believe. I don't play in 4K. I don't have a 4K monitor. But I don't feel that because I don't have 4K that I can't play the game. So it's the same kind of thing. It'll be people who do and do not have 60 frames per second will, they'll notice a visual quality difference, but I don't think it's not going to give them any kind of advantage. That's the main
Yeah,
thing. I don't see it giving them an advantage. So,
yeah.
but that's cool. That is really neat. And then what's coming up? So what do we want to talk about next? Some of the new consumables.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about the new consumable. So, new consumable tool, which we all know is the grenades, which in this case here they're called grenades, M67 grenades. Um, so they are going to be special issue grenades. So you could only carry a stack of two, and it's going to take the same crafting time and um, materials as like portables, armor plates.
Right.
Um, from the sounds of it, I believe it's weird. I don't think I've seen any partner either video or stream actually show it because like
Well, in the dev builds, they don't have completed what do you
yeah,
call it?
the
Chemical, no,
crafting table and stuff.
crafting utility rooms, isn't it? No, utility rooms is for cost. Water distillation is for time.
Water distillation is a consumable crafting time.
Yes, crafting time
Yeah,
for consumables,
yeah,
which is what this is. So yeah, none of the partners have like completed like level 13 ones, so you can't make
yeah,
them really fast. I think
yeah,
is the problem. So
yeah.
yeah,
So what they did was the dev team just gave them all like 100,000 grenades or something like that. So it's like
to play
an
with, yeah,
abundance, right?
yeah,
So like it's kind of funny, but so anyways, yeah, apparently it's going to be the same cost and crafting time. Now, based on some of the videos we've seen, uh, within like 4 or 5 meters, it's going to be an instant kill. Oh, and just so you know, so you can't run with the grenade. You're only going to be walking with it.
mm,
Um, there is, I guess, a throwing arch is the mechanic that you're going to see when you go to use it. You can't pre-cook it or anything like that.
yeah,
Um, but so yeah, so 4 or 5 meters is an insta kill, um, and 8, 9, 10 meters there's like damage drop off, or that's where the damage drop off ends essentially.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Now, if a grenade does land near you, there's an icon on your screen with like a little grenade with an arrow, so
And
you're not
the
just guessing where it is.
the deepness of the color tells you how close you are to it. So if it's like a
Yeah,
dark red, you're like right next to it practically. If it's a light
yeah.
red, there's a better chance of you. Okay, you're farther away from it. There's a chance to survive. That kind of. You'll take some damage, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
the trigger, like the aiming trigger, like if you're aiming with your gun, is what you're using to bring up the arc. But you can blind throw and guesstimate your arc without bringing up the trigger. So there's two ways. You can just throw it,
okay.
guessing where it's going to go, or you can do the thing where it brings up the arc, and then you can try to aim the arc and toss it. Yeah,
Yeah. And then armor doesn't protect against
yeah,
grenades.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it goes directly to HP. It yeah, the armor does nothing.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't
the
touch your
flaming,
armor at all. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Now there's like there's been like a ton of questions on how they work. The dev stream kind of talked about a lot of them, and then there's been some partner videos too that have and the streams that have like done a bunch of testing. Um, and it's like so you could throw it through windows, open or closed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could bank it off like walls and whatnot. So
You can throw it through
like
barred. You can throw it through
yes,
spaces in the barred windows.
yeah. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones we saw. Um, but
Water. You can throw
it
it in
actually,
water, and a big explosion of
oh
water
yeah,
up.
water doesn't affect it
Yeah.
apparently. Um, so it actually seems pretty good, except for the water thing. I would think that water would dampen an explosion, but
You would think it would reduce the effectiveness.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know, and it doesn't seem to. I guess we'll see. There's
no,
more to play with. Um,
uh,
but other than the water effect, it still seems to do the same kind of radius of damage. It seems.
yeah.
Um,
So it seems fairly balanced, like well
yeah,
done.
so far. Yeah.
It's a matter of getting to actually use it, right?
Hmm.
So
And it's going to
that's
be one of those things that because you don't get them until you get the plans at level 15. We'll
yeah,
talk about the battle pass later, but
yeah,
you don't get the plans until a little bit into the battle pass,
yeah.
and you might get some grenades sooner than that. I think you might get some at some point in the battle pass. But so it's like when we start the season, no one's going to start with grenades unless they happen to cycle a crate. And no, they're not going to be in crates. So it's not
No,
until you get inside the thing and maybe get them from
yeah,
Bard or a lootable POI.
yeah. And that's the thing is, I think you only get the first time you do get grenades is when you get the plans at 15.
Oh, it might be, yeah, because I think the
Yeah,
common thing is you get some grenades, and
yeah,
the paid thing is you get the plans. Yeah,
exactly,
you're right. Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, me, it's down the line how it's going to be. I like solos. I don't think it's going to be that crazy, but
No.
like I'm just thinking like you go play duos, trios, and then like a trio each brings in two grenades. It's like
Yeah, but at that point, because well, and when you're playing duels and trios, anyways, it's a sweatier game because
yes,
it's
yeah,
all about combat. It's all about combat. No
yeah,
one's going into duos like, okay, let's loot as much as we can get out, unless they're
mhm,
the sketchy people who like to try to dupe and stuff like that. But then that's getting caught more now too, so that's good, and being dealt with. But still, when you're going into
mhm,
duels and trios, it's a combat game. You're going in for combat. You're going
yeah,
in less for loot.
yeah,
So if everybody brings in two grenades each, that's fine.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
I-
yeah, for
It's,
sure.
it's when you're doing solos, that's where it's going to be really interesting when grenades start showing up in solos.
Yeah, yeah. Like I know a lot of the community have been asking for it.
Yeah, it's always a big thing. People want this
I'm
to be more like Tarkov. So we want grenades. We want,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not I don't know how I feel about it. I wanted like obviously I want to use them before.
Hmm.
Um like at first when we were talking about like adding a throwable type thing, right? And like let's face it, for the majority of these like the request for a throwable was for like people in the bunkers, right?
Yeah.
In those rooms. Um
Or to people trying to
or
push houses, like the second
yeah,
story
up the
houses and stuff.
stairs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? So like to me it was like just leave them alone and just that's fine, like problem solved. But like for like maybe like an alternative instead of like a grenade, like maybe like a flashbang or something like that, that would have been kind of cool. But I'm definitely like excited to try out the grenades and like see how it works.
Yeah.
um
No, I'm not. Like they're here. I'm willing to try them and see
oh
how it
yeah.
goes. It's just like armor. Like I don't take
Mhm.
armor into every encounter I go into, but if I'm playing duos, yeah, I'll take some armor.
Yeah,
And with the grenades, I'll see. Like, will I take grenades or not? I don't know, but
yeah.
I'll definitely try them. I'll definitely play
I
them.
yeah, I like for me it's it's kind of like a mortar strike, right?
Hmm.
Mortar strikes I never bring in unless I go on, say, like Phil Canton or Anakin. And even
Hmm.
Anakin, it's rare.
Yeah,
It's more for Phil Canton that I enjoy bringing in
the
the
big
mortar
open
strikes.
maps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's less places for people to hide and escape it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe if you go to like a map that has a lot of buildings and stuff like that, or batteries always going to have grenades. I would hands
Oh yeah, if you're
down.
going, you'll be seeing it all the time, just because people hate those rooms,
Yeah,
in there. And if it's a bard, and especially if a bard's in that room, or just
yeah,
whatever, you get somebody cornered in a room, and it's like you're spending 20 minutes or 10 minutes just back and forth trying to figure out how you're going to get this guy. Are you going to run in and jump and hope they don't kill you? And it's like,
yeah,
now grenades will be a
yeah,
thing.
yep. All
The
right.
other new, so that's the new consumable, the new weapon. So they've actually released a new weapon, which they haven't done in. They did Perker Hill last season, so they have
Yeah,
been doing new
Th-
weapons, just not as
yeah,
much as they used to.
yeah. They cut down on the amount of new
Yeah,
weapons.
yeah. So the new weapon is a new version of the A74. So this is going to be a rare in the blue, A74 KSU. And if you when you see it, you'll recognize it. Definitely one that I recognize from playing Tarkov. It's the one that has the well, it looks very much like an A74, except the stock. In Tarkov, it's a foldable stock. In this one, it looks like it should be a foldable stock, but it's not foldable. It has like a sort of like a triangular stock that's
Hmm.
hollow, or whatever you want to call it. You can see through the stock. Whatever. I don't know. There's technical terms for it. I'm not a gun guy. I don't know what the technical term is. But it's blue rarity. Saying so, and it has the 10,000 materials to create, 20 minutes to craft. Um, when it comes out, it's going to be. We didn't mention this, I think, with the consumable. The grenades need a level 10 crafting table. The
Okay.
A74 needs a level 6 crafting table. So if you've been playing for any bout of time, that shouldn't be an issue for you. Um, it has single fire and full auto. It uses the same ammo as the A74, and I think it's also the same as the PAMD86.
Yep.
Yeah, so they all use that same ammo. Um, the 45 by or 545 by 39.
Yep.
It has a little bit less damage than the A74K, so it's 23 damage as opposed to 28. But has a little bit faster rate of fire, 700 as opposed to 650, so a little bit faster. A little bit less range, 735 as opposed to 800 meters is your optimal range. Um, and then yeah, it has a 30 round clip, and then one in the chamber, so 31 total when you have it fully loaded.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, it's a nice looking gun. From the looks of it, it has similar, maybe a little bit more recoil compared to the other A74. But I'm excited to try it out because the A74K is one of my favorite guns. Um, when I first started playing, I was using it quite a bit, and for me when it comes to guns, I tend to use what I have a lot of, and
Hmm.
I usually use the cheaper guns unless I'm doing duels or trios. Then I'll start using the nicer guns. But the A74 is one I used a lot at the beginning. Then I started getting low on them. I didn't have many, so I started using other stuff. And then
Yep.
as I built them up again, I'll start using it again. Just it's a good fully auto gun. So I'm really interested to see this A74 KSU and trying it out and seeing how well it does. Yeah, it's almost like and I think it's still classified as an assault rifle, but I think it's
Yep.
getting closer to SMG territory just because it's a little bit faster rate of fire, a little bit less damage, that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's a new gun. Uh, it yeah, it comes up later in the battle pass, and which is kind of cool.
Yeah. 30.
Um,
35. Level
35 in the
30.
battle pass. There
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, so it's getting closer to the end of the battle pass, but I'm sure you'll start seeing it in lootable POIs, just like the grenades. Um, yeah, I'm kind of curious actually because they do throw weapons in there. I wonder if that'll take over a slot or become more common, just because it's new. I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that is
I
the new
yeah,
assault
I'm
rifle.
excited to try it too. It's
Hmm.
there's new guns, like you want to get your hands on it and
Hmm.
try it out, right? Because like I don't use a whole lot of like LMGs, say, but like assault rifles, like I'll use like a wide variety of them that are available. So,
Yeah.
maybe I could add this to like my actual arsenal that you know
Yep.
I want
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to use. So, next up, the battle pass. So the battle pass for season 9 stalkers, you get the base skin at base stalker skin at step 1 or level 1, and then the other skin is called zone patrol, which is kind of cool. Both of them are kind of nice.
Hmm.
They're pretty dark, so it's kind of like fitting in like a almost like a apocalyptic era type thing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I'd almost say the Stalker is like an improved mercenary one because there's that mercenary skin, not from this season, but the season before, which I didn't
oh,
really care for.
you mean Zone
Um,
Patrol?
nope.
You said
I'm thinking
Stalker.
of no. I mean the Stalker. The
Oh,
Stalker
okay.
is the one that has the backpack and has a bit more of I'm trying to think of like it's like almost like has straps for its backpack and it has the
Okay.
belt. But then the mercenaries sort of had a similar kind of setup, but it was a little different
Okay.
and looked kind of plain and ugly. Whereas this looks nicer. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I'm not thinking of the Zone Patrol. I'm thinking of the Stalker.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, but I really like the look of it, and because it's the main one, it's going to have a few different versions of it,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool because it does look like it has. If you look at the full picture of it, if you look at their Twitter account, you can find the picture. Like they have a couple grenades and a couple pouches on it, and it seems almost like it has like a flat part of it where the backpack sort of straps into. So it's a more
Hmm.
of a full round kind of outfit, but then it has like whatever it has a hoodie as your main part underneath, and whatever kind of pants it has. You can't tell the pants, but
Yeah.
I just like the look of it a lot better than what we saw in Mercenaries because the Mercenaries had a similar kind of look, but it was uh, maybe it was because Mercenaries was too clean, whereas the Stalker one looks worn and not as bright. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Oh, maybe.
And the I think the hoodie under part where you have a hoodie
Oh,
underneath
yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
it a big difference. Yeah,
Yeah. It's almost like an intimidating factor, right? With the hoodie on.
yeah. So it looks cool. It does look.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
There's a wide variety of face masks too, or gas masks. Um,
Yeah.
some of them are pretty cool. Like I like the CCP, like the Soviet Union gas mask. So it's like an old school, has like a
The one that
cannon on
has
the
the
center.
can, yeah,
Yeah,
the one I always think of Doctor Who with that one because
yeah.
then there's like one
And,
of the early new Doctor Who episodes with the kids and those gas masks during World War II. Yeah,
but yeah, there's some like gas masks aren't for me, but like some of them are
yeah,
nice. Some don't do anything for me. Um, there's one bag that really I like is the bandolier.
hmm.
So it's like almost like a satchel type bag, but it also has like I guess ammo clips
I don't know if
for
it's
it, or
yeah,
or
it's like
like shotgun
shells or
shells.
something. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
these really big shells. It's like I'm not even sure what gun those shells are for because they seem bigger than a shotgun shell. They almost seem like elephant shells, like for elephant guns. Like they're like those bigger. Maybe I'm
yeah,
wrong. Just thinking about it though, like those bigger shells. Like I don't know what gun that's for, but I want that gun. It's like,
yeah.
yeah,
uh, so that's kind of nice. Trying to think what else we got. The gun skins are like
mm,
some of my favorites.
yeah,
They're called rusted, so it's like a rusted version of the weapons. Now for this battle pass here, um, you're getting rusted skins for the Raffica, the Gal, MP5, sawed-off shotgun, A74 KSU, Silver Pigeon, MGV, which I love because so if you ADS in, it says tetanus deliver or
yeah.
delivery or something. I
Delivery
love it.
system or something. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a nice little sense of humor, right? Some other guns have sayings
little,
on it, right?
yeah.
And it's just awesome. the crossbow, AKM, and SVD.
Yeah. So
So
like all decent guns that get use. Like maybe not every single gun there. Well, the
well, not the
crossbow,
crossbow.
not the crossbow. Well, it gets used, but very, usually in jokes, but,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
or challenges or something, but not as a regular thing. The
yeah,
sawed off maybe not as much as either. I never really use a sawed off, but every other weapon there, I pretty much I've used
yeah,
or would use. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and I
Same
really
thing.
like it. Yeah, when they do skins like this that aren't your just blue or purple or some ugly camo or whatever. I like these themed skins that
Yeah.
give it character. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's funny because like I like the AKM skin, the
Hmm.
rusted skin, but
Hmm.
right now I'm rocking the total opposite because I don't
Is
know
it
if you saw my
the chrome
stream.
one?
Yeah, the chrome plated AKM. So I'm gonna be going from chrome plated to rusted
Yeah, yeah.
probably.
That's
But
funny.
either
Yeah.
way, and it'll be interesting if they add it down the line for all the other guns, because like
Hmm.
um like the other gun skins that I really like, but they're not for every gun right now, is steampunk
Yeah, I really like
and
those ones.
yeah, and carbon fiber.
Hmm. I'm
Those
not
are
as
like
big on the carbon fiber myself, but
okay,
they're cool. They are cool, but yeah, they're
yes,
not my favorites. But yeah,
yeah.
and
So
steampunk for sure.
yeah, so those are the two that I really
Hmm.
like, but they're not available for every gun, right? So
Yep.
hopefully at some point, like rusted and then all those other ones, get expanded. Who knows? But
Yeah.
uh, So next,
Oh.
we already talked about it. The grenade plans at level 15.
Hmm.
The A74 KSU is going to be available. The plan is going to be available at level 35. There's also a muzzle mask that like it looks like Hannibal Lecter type thing. It's like a half
Yeah.
hockey mask type thing. There's I think
With the
two
bars across.
variants. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
two variants. There's like a rusted one and then one that's kind of blackish.
Kind of blackish. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the battle pass for season 9 stalkers.
Yeah, it's a cool battle pass. I like it. And then they'll have the typical. There'll be crowns at certain levels. There'll be
Yeah,
crates at certain levels. But then the little things that they've the new stuff that they've sprinkled in there is really nice. I am really
yeah,
looking forward to completing this one.
yeah. And the I believe the boosters are the same thing as season 8 trappers, so you max out at 140% XP boost.
Oh, right, yeah,
And I think the crowns is the same amount, which I think if you end up saving it, you end up having enough for next season. I don't.
yeah. I think it's. I think usually I don't know exactly how much
Yeah,
either, but I think it's usually just over how much it costs to buy the pass.
yeah,
So if you buy the pass, you'll end up, and then you get the crowns from the pass, like the free tier and the regular tier. You'll have a little over what you paid for it, anyways.
yeah,
So, if you're the kind of person who only bought the pass and then worked through the pass and never spent any other crowns, you'd be fine. But then, a lot of people like to boost.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
it does hurt. It doesn't hurt to get crowns from other sources
Yeah.
sometimes.
And like everyone should like keep in mind too, like the partners always get given like a
Hmm.
number of, battle pass codes for now it's like Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's usually like roughly 2 weeks after the season releases. So like in this case here, the season releases on the 18th, I believe.
Yeah.
So it won't be that first weekend. It's probably going to be after that second weekend that
They'll
the
get their
giveaways are
codes.
probably going to start coming.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out. So technically, so probably the 30th, end of August, essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if
And
people are
typically,
patient enough.
yeah, and typically it's like for the Xbox, they get Battle Pass codes, so that you'll get
Hmm.
a code to actually buy the Battle Pass.
Yeah,
Whereas for PlayStation and Switch, it's crown codes. So
yeah,
you'll get like a number of crowns enough to usually buy the Battle Pass. Maybe a
yeah,
little bit more. I can't remember exactly, but that's the kind of codes they had. And the Battle Pass or the crown code ones are region specific typically. So if you're on
yeah,
PlayStation or Switch, make sure you're watching a streamer who's in your area, because if you're watching someone from overseas, either
Yep.
way, the codes they give out won't necessarily be compatible with your
Yep.
system. Whereas the Xbox codes, I believe, are pretty much universal. If
Yeah.
it's for a battle
Yeah.
pass, and it doesn't matter where you are.
So sometimes the partners will actually like kind
Trade,
of trade. So
yeah,
like a North American partner might trade with an EU or overseas partner, and then that way, like they'll give two away of each type thing. So like they can, but yeah, for the most part, it's like region locked and
yeah,
uh, yeah. So keep an eye for the giveaways
yeah.
if you want the
They'll be coming, and yeah, watch Twitter, watch their social medias, because they'll be announcing when they have codes and when they'll be doing streams where they'll be giving stuff away. Yeah.
yep.
That was the battle pass. Next is they made changes to eliminations finally, and this is exciting because people have been wanting them to make a change to eliminations for a long time, because it's one of the it's the one mode that hasn't been touched since it. I think, well, I shouldn't say since it came out, because I don't know. I haven't been playing it since it came out. But as far as I can remember, and I started in
Mhm.
season 4, it hasn't changed. It's always been the same.
Yeah.
And the big thing is they finally got rid of team killing in eliminations. So that's huge, because you'd always, if you're playing with randoms, and that's the only way to play with randoms other than shootout, as eliminations, you can go into with less than a 5-man team and get paired up with some random people, and quite often you end up with somebody who has something up their butts. For whatever reason, they get mad at somebody on your team and start shooting them as soon as you go, and it's like, and then
Yeah.
it's a more, it becomes less a game of trying to kill the other team, it's less a game of trying to avoid the person who's an idiot on your team, and then and then you're stuck in there for 20 minutes, because it's a game that doesn't end until one team wins 5 rounds, so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So they got rid of team killing. That's huge. Um, but they also did a some changes to the rewards, which is nice. And they've come out with an elimination crate. So a few seasons ago, when they changed shootouts, they came out with special shootout crates,
Yep.
and they've now done that with eliminations, and they get their own crates as well. And I don't know if we know what the breakdown is of who gets what. Just the winning team, I think the top. I'm not sure if everyone on the winning team gets anything, but
Yep.
definitely the top players on the winning team will get the elimination crates. I don't know how it's broken down. And then I
Uh,
think there's
yeah.
some
I don't think
adjustments to
it's
the other stuff a little bit.
yeah, I don't think it's really been clarified for either
Yeah,
the partners either. So, um, what I'm hoping is they Vigor themselves did like a really amazing blog post about how they reworked the shootout crates, um, and like there's a it explained what they did, how why they reworked it, and provided like this like very detailed chart, right? That showed how many boosts and would result in what rewards and stuff like that. So
yeah.
hopefully it's actually going to. I would expect that there's going to be a blog post at some point to
Detailing the
detail that.
changes they've made. Yeah,
So
because if you look at yeah, recently there's a graphic out there that really breaks down in shootout the crate distribution, especially
yeah,
if you start doing boosts.
yep,
So how boosting affects the crate distribution in shootout. So it'd
yep,
be really cool if they do something similar for eliminations. Now, because eliminations it's 2 teams, I wouldn't expect it to be as big a change. Like I don't even know that if there's any boosting in eliminations. At least there what didn't seem to be in the
no,
previews. So I don't think that's going to change by the time it releases. Who knows in the future? Maybe in a future patch they'll change it so you can boost in eliminations. I don't know. But right now it didn't seem like you could, and so, but it would be nice to get clarification on how, what affects who gets what, for the different
mhm,
rewards.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the big changes to eliminations. They didn't, there's nothing new about maps yet. I know they did mention at some point that they were working on a new map, but we don't know exactly when that's going to be. It could be a while.
Uh,
Did they
I
say
think
season
I think
10 or?
season 10.
Okay, I couldn't remember if they actually
Yeah.
mentioned it was be ready for season 10 or not. So So potentially season 10, but I don't think that's just gonna be a new map in general. So it's not gonna be like an eliminations map. So right now, eliminations is still the, I think a couple different maps in Anakin.
Yep.
Is it all around Anakin?
Yep.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
all
because
based around Anakin. Yeah.
Anakin was based off of like all the shoot elimination maps, right? So
Yeah, and Sagbrook was based off the shootout map. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Which
Um, yeah.
you mentioned like a new map. They have talked about um, adding a new shootout map, but they
Mm,
want to try to reuse an existing map. So
yeah.
then just kind of like cordon off kind of an area within a map type thing. So
That'd
um,
be cool.
yeah,
And I
there
think
was
we've
no
talked about
mention
that
of that.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no mention of like an update
No,
for that, but it's been mentioned in past dev streams. So who knows? Maybe we'll get a surprise for season 10. But
maybe.
like right now, I don't usually play eliminations
No.
because the rewards aren't the greatest and the team killing. But now it's
Hmm.
like, like maybe, you know, I'm kind of like thinking about like adding it to the stream and like, you know,
Yeah.
getting more community involvement because like I'll do countdowns for like encounters and for shootout, but I don't do eliminations. So this is an extra incentive.
Yeah, exactly. I would probably be more willing to try it out too. Like I don't play a lot of it either. When I had tried, it was trying to get into games of people that I've been watching, but those have typically been UK streamers, and at the time there was a lot of lag. So even getting
Mm,
into eliminations with them was like, oh boy, this was hard to play, and I think they've fixed a lot of that lag stuff, but I don't know if it's how well it is, but there's still some.
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely would be willing to put it into mine too. Like play it, and actually try it more often. So I'm looking forward to it. And one thing we haven't talked about, it doesn't really fit into any of the categories that we've been talking about. Has to do with team killing in
Oh yeah.
encounters. There's nothing been officially said on this other than what I've seen in preview builds. But it seems, and this could change by the time it's released, that they've changed it so that you cannot take off the team killer thing. So if you kill a teammate, they no longer have the ability to take off team killing. That saying that you're a team killer. So that means if you're a team killer, you won't be able to loot your teammate's body. So
Yeah.
that seems to be a thing that we saw in some of the previews, and that's good. That was something that I never understood. Why? You know, so what if there's a chance that there was an accidental team kill? How often is that going to happen that you need to have the ability to take it off? Right? If you
Yeah.
accidentally killed somebody, not too bad. Now you're marked on the map for the rest of the encounter. It's not going to be like, oh, if every game you're accidentally killing somebody, yeah, I think you should be playing a different game. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
playing with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that is that going to stop? And I know a big part of it is to try to stop dupers. Um, but there's other ways. Dupers have other ways and to self kill. So which would doesn't help with that. So it helps definitely. Don't get me wrong. It's just it's I don't think it's not a permanent solution. So they'll have to figure out other ways to get rid of the negative behavior that they're trying to curb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
For sure.
it is good. I do like it. So
Yeah.
and
Same thing.
yeah, yeah.
I agree.
And what's the last thing we got? Oh yeah, bug fixes.
Just bug fixes. Well, technically, one's not a bug fix.
No,
So there's currently
bugs
no
and
check.
improvements. I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
bugs
Yeah,
and improvements. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah. So Bohemia is actually a Czech studio,
Hmm.
and there was no Czech localization
Yeah.
uh, for the game. So that's being added in season 9.
Yeah.
Uh, the sprint animation um, is being updated again
For the male
um,
characters,
for
because
the
it
male
was
characters.
yeah.
Um, I was like, I don't think that was an actual bug. I don't think you actually ran slower. I think it was just
No,
like a visual thing, right?
it was a visual thing. It
So,
got, I mean, a lot of people were like thinking that you ran slower just because of the way that you carried yourself when he started
Yeah,
getting overloaded. Yeah.
yeah. Um, the caffeine consumable is getting a new icon. It's going to be
Yes.
a coffee bean.
Yeah.
It,
That's
I,
perfect.
I like, yeah, it's perfect. It's like, why not?
Yep.
Um, big one, portable bugs are being fixed. So that's exciting. Um, the H bar bipods aren't going to be appearing in the scope anymore. Um,
Right. Yeah, and if
uh,
you hadn't noted, if you don't play with the H bar a lot, when they added the whole thing where when you have any gun that has a bipod and then you go prone, the bipod would extend,
yeah,
giving you, making it look like it's giving you the stabilization that you get.
yeah,
But with the H bar, when the bipod was up, it was showing up in your scope. So if you don't play with the H bar often, you would have known. But
yeah,
that was a thing. So now it doesn't show up in your scope when it's folded up.
yeah. Um, now, there was one partner dev YouTube video. I think it was Christopher Beast. Apparently, there's no locked exits on Battery Jog now, which is
Yeah, I don't know what
so
that's about.
yeah. So that's new.
It's
Um,
and I can understand people maybe because at the time on Drog there was only like one unlocked exit and
yeah,
everything else was locked.
yeah,
So okay, now they're taking it to the other extreme, going back to where there's no locked. Which can't there
like
be a
Snow
happy
Deck.
medium? Yeah, like no
Yeah,
like Snow Deck where there's nothing. Can't there be a happy medium where a random one is locked or something, or one or
yeah.
two are locked? You know, instead of having them like almost all of them locked and now having none. Let's. I don't. You know what? Whatever. I doesn't really
Um,
affect me as much because I don't play a lot of draw battery. I don't mind battery, but it's not my go-to map. If
oh,
I'm playing, I still more into looting, and battery's
yeah.
not a loot map; it's a fight map. So
Um, yeah. It's kind of strange. Like it was mentioned in that video, so I'm not 100% sure. I didn't actually see it. There was
yeah,
no visual, anyways, that I saw. So um, next would be um, consumable loading to single stacks instead of multi stacks or
mm,
full stacks,
the default.
which is
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, like it's a nice little default. Um, it makes perfect sense, right? Like
yep.
I don't want to bring in a full stack of antibiotics or like 6 disinfectants, right? When you're making a loadout.
Hmm.
Um, one big thing that's a big change. Apparently, I don't
It's
know
been
if
a
it would be called a bug, but
yeah,
um, bug or whatever. This is being changed, so you can't actually ping a cache spot anymore.
yeah,
So, currently, season 8 and before, if you found a cache spot and you hit left on the D-pad, you would ping it, and if it was the actual cache spot itself, instead of your marker, it would be a little picture. Now, this is being changed where it doesn't work. It'll just be your marker, and you
yeah.
either have to have the picture and you'll know it's that one, or you have to actually dig it up.
Yeah,
Um,
start digging random ones up. Yeah,
yeah. And honestly, I've talked about it before. I want Vigor to be as realistic as possible. So I agree with this, right? Like I know a
yeah,
lot of people don't like this change, but in my opinion, it makes sense, right?
yeah.
You should have to dig it up.
And for
Or
me, the pinging didn't bother me so much because you can have like a real world explanation. Say you had like a metal detector, right?
yeah,
You take a metal like this is the after, this is like you're going to survive. A metal detector is not out of the realm of possibility of equipment that you would carry in with you. So you'd be using that to detect, is there anything here? Oh yeah, there is something here. That could be your Polaroid or whatever. But whatever. Or maybe
yeah,
that could, I don't know. Maybe a metal detector could eventually become a consumable that you could use on that you take in with you. But then a consumable that you use once, no, it doesn't make sense. But whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not upset about it. It was a nice feature up until now. Now it's just I'll take a little bit longer to dig up a hole when I come across it, as opposed to, um, you know, and now, because before, like you have to be looking right at it to ping, right? So when you're looking right at it to
yeah,
ping, you're not seeing anything else around you. But now, if there's one around there, I can get myself, so I'm looking around as I dig. so that I can keep an eye of what's happening around me as I'm digging and not paying attention to what I'm digging.
Yeah.
So I've almost found, even though it takes a little bit longer, I feel a little bit safer because hopefully won't be surprised by somebody as I'm fooling around with trying to ping it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just me.
And I think that's it. Like from the
Yeah,
notes, yeah, I
yeah,
don't know where I was going with the next stuff, but
yeah.
so
Well, we already
the
talked about the running animation
yeah,
being updated, and no more. You didn't finish that thought, so I don't know what that was
yeah,
either.
squirrel.
Yeah,
It's like
squirrel got distracted, and that happens a lot, but that's okay.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
What
it's exciting.
yeah. Well, one thing going back to the grenades.
Yeah,
Now the grenades we talked about. It's insta kill from within 4 or 5 meters.
yeah,
One thing though, I'm wondering, and I've seen this mentioned like in the streams, videos, like people have asked the question: is okay, it's a one-shot kill. Contact bombs, you essentially have to have three of them go off to kill someone.
yep.
So I'm wondering if at some point there might be tweaks to contact bombs or whatnot, but um,
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. A grenade
yeah,
is an actual military item that was constructed to frag and do as much damage as possible. These contact bombs, and you look at them, they're pieced together, right? Like
hmm
they're put together with like bubble gum and duct tape, and it looks like dynamite, but
yeah,
it's something that you've constructed. It may not work as well as a contact
yeah,
bomb or as a grenade, right? So that's how
yeah,
I can kind of think of it is, yeah, these contact bombs, they look impressive, but maybe they're more bang than hurt. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Same with the if you ever when you look at the booby traps, same kind of
yes,
thing. You put these booby
yeah,
traps on something, they look like really pieced together. It's like, yeah, you're just piecing whatever you can together to hopefully surprise somebody,
yeah,
and take them by surprise, or and which is interesting with these booby traps, and I didn't realize it until I think we played together the one time. You put it on something that somebody's looting. If they don't
yeah,
disarm it, it'll destroy what they're looting. And like,
yeah,
what? I
yeah,
didn't know about that. That was like that just blew my mind when you realized
yeah,
that. Um, what I never, and this is something I've been meaning to ask or look into, when you booby trap the drop, if you run
yeah,
away from the drop and it has consumables in there other than the crates, do those consumables get destroyed?
yeah,
Oh, they do. Okay, I was curious
yeah,
about that. So
yeah,
even though crates never get destroyed, the consumables do. So that's a reason to not want to run away from it if you want the consumables.
yeah,
It's usually some heals and some ammo, but still, right?
yeah,
Um, that's actually pretty big. So and they don't do enough damage to kill you, but there's situations, right? If radiation's coming in and you're in a rush and you do it, you might take enough damage to die potentially, or get you so low that a single pistol shot from somebody behind you could kill you, kind of thing, right?
yeah.
So they have their
But
place.
yeah, yeah, but like yeah, the booby traps though, like it was always mentioned when they brought in, like it was not meant to kill, it was meant to
Yeah,
like slow down people and hinder them. Contact bombs, I think they said the same thing too. Um, and like yeah, both of them are like they're not special issue, they're military grade, so
hmm,
it, I guess it kind of makes sense that they're not as good, but um, I don't know, maybe buff a little bit the contact bomb, I would
maybe.
say. But,
And
um,
if they do, great. If they don't, whatever. I don't.
yeah,
They're still useful,
I don't
and
yeah
yeah,
I don't think like there's going to be a huge uptick in their use if that's the case. Like if they buff it or whatnot. Like I
right.
think people are still going to use grenades more, and
Hmm.
that's it. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
one thing from the videos too that I remember. So grenades will set off car alarms too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit a grenade or hit a car with a grenade, even before it explodes, it'll actually set off the alarm.
Yeah, and if we're going to talk about grenades and stuff like that, terrain can stop the explosion.
Yeah,
When they were doing testing, they were in battery in a few matches, And if you say you throw the grenades and it's by a stack of wood, if you're on the other side of the wood, even on top of the wood, they weren't taking damage. It seemed.
Yeah.
So it was like a terrain would stop the damage. They would
Yeah.
damage through walls. It wouldn't be like a lot of damage, but if you're like
No.
if it lands beside a wall or a door that you're right behind, you could potentially take some
Yeah.
damage.
Just
Um,
like wall banging, right? So if
yeah.
you could shoot through a wall, like uh, it'll deal damage to you.
hmm you can throw them under cars.
Yeah.
And I don't know how well it did for damage, but it did damage the person on the side of the car, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that actually, so don't quote me on it. But you can get them under cars, which, someone's hiding behind a car. You can either try to shoot them, or you could, if you can't get the angle to shoot, you could try throwing a grenade so that it lands under the car. So that could be something. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's going to be a lot of neat things to try with grenades for sure, um, and see how it affects with different terrains and stuff like that. Like if you're behind a tree, you should be fine, I believe, unless it's a really thin tree.
Yeah.
That you might still get hurt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rocks, you're fine behind rocks. Yeah, it just seemed if you're
Yeah.
behind something, you're okay,
Yeah.
except for a wall because they're thin, apparently.
Yeah. Rule of thumb: if it could be wall bang,
Yeah,
you're going to take damage.
yeah.
Essentially,
If you can get hurt by a bullet going through the wall, you can get hit by a grenade going. Same thing.
bullet penetration. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, bullet
I'm
train.
like
That's it.
that,
Yeah,
that's like the gamer the
yeah,
gamer term there, but it's like bullet penetration. That's the word I'm looking for.
yeah.
So,
That's right.
uh,
So yeah.
yeah,
Um, but that's essentially it. That's our season 9 preview. Looking forward to it. Let us know what you think in the thoughts, what you're thinking in the comments. Are you looking forward to season 9? Is there something you're not looking forward to? Do you think something's going to break the game? I never think anything's going to break the game. People always say,
no,
"Oh, the game's going to be ruined by this." Nothing's going to ruin the game, unless they shut the servers off, and
yeah,
then we can't play the game anymore. But they bring new things out, and and some people are chicken little, some people are, just go with it. So
yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a new season. It's always great when it's a new season. And last season was a long season. They haven't said how long this season's going to be officially yet, or have they? I don't think they have.
Uh, I don't think they have, but
No.
I think someone mentioned that most seasons now are going to be about the same thing as season 8.
About 4 months.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why the legacy seasons also came about. Not just
Right.
getting the old stuff to like the new consoles, but
To
um,
give some people something extra to grind
yeah,
for. Yeah.
yeah,
And it didn't bother me so much, but there was a big drop off in playership, it seemed, on this last season. Like the first half of the season, was pretty good, but then the last half of the season, people streaming it really dropped.
yeah,
The viewership really dropped. It was a big drop. So the new season, great. It's going to probably bring people in. People are going to love grenades. How long will it last? If with these 4 month seasons, which again, I don't mind so much because I'm playing it on 2 systems, so I can finish it on
yeah,
2 systems in that time frame. Like I'm 2 levels away on my PS, so if they hadn't extended it, it just meant I would have had to play some extra last weekend to get those last couple of levels. Now I had an extra week to get them, and I'll get them done by the time it's over. But um, yeah, I finished it on my Xbox. I'll have it finished on my PlayStation. Maybe if I, depending how often I play it, maybe I'll start up on the Switch. Who knows? Get that third system going.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I got my legacy season done too there like 2 weeks ago. Like I don't mind. I still play the game. Like I really enjoy it, right? So
yeah, you're
uh,
getting really close to getting your shelter done.
yeah,
You're ahead of me.
I'm
You
actually at
have 280?
281.
281. Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm at 273, I think, around there on my Xbox. So I'm a little bit behind you, which is whatever. That's fine. And then I have a
Well,
lot.
I started before you too, right?
You
So
did. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You started like a
yeah,
whole season. Well, not whole. Maybe half a
oh,
season ahead of me, or approximately
yeah, a few weeks.
a few weeks ahead of me. Yeah. So yeah, and but then I also split my time between two different systems. So with
Yeah,
the PlayStation, and I'm in 200s in the PlayStation, but nowhere near I have a lot to do on the PlayStation, so I'll always be grinding somewhere to get my, you know,
Yep.
get my shelter done. Um,
Yep.
and even if I finish it on the Xbox, like, then maybe I'll start getting a bit more aggressive into the combat. But
Yep.
who knows?
But
It's what it
that's what
is.
I meant. Yeah, I actually talked about this. I'm like, I like really I want to max out my shelter.
Yeah.
That's my main goal. I want to
Hmm.
get that 291 shelter build title, and like even after I get that, like I'm still going to be looting
Yeah.
and shooting and doing everything. Like I don't foresee myself changing my playstyle because I enjoyed the looting aspect of the game just as much as like the shooting. So,
And it's
um,
it's the way to get the XP, because sure,
yeah,
if some of these people who, play during, like, the streamers who are daytime streamers who spend every day streaming the game, yeah, they finish this thing fast, right? Like, they have 50 levels within, some people within a few days. I don't know how they do that, but there are people within a few weeks will be done.
yeah,
But for the majority of us who are playing at night, we have daytime jobs or daytime looking after kids or whatever. Um, we only have a few hours a night to play. It's going to take us a long time. It takes us longer to finish these levels. And even if your shelter's done, there's a lot of XP that we had from looting.
yep,
We did a whole episode covering this. And next season
yep,
comes out, we may have to revisit that and see, did they
yep.
change loot values? Maybe it'll just be yes or no. We'll see. If it's huge, we'll probably do another episode updating you. But if
Yeah.
not, it might just be, nope, they didn't make a change. Keep going, keep looting. They actually, just to update on
For
that, they did make a little bit of a change, at least
yeah.
to one thing, and that was fertilizer. Um, I did notice that they reduced the amount of XP you get for taking a stack of fertilizer out. But glass is still huge. You still get a lot of
Mhm.
XP for glass, and fertilizer is still good. It's just a little less good for some reason. Maybe it was during the
Yep.
8.1 update. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
So
But
that's it.
yeah, that's a good place to stop. Again, thanks for listening. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate it. Um,
Yep.
any comments down below? Let us know what you think. We'll look forward to seeing them and responding to you. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, that's perfect. If you're listening to us, that's even better. We just like getting out to you guys and getting the engagement going, and hopefully
Hmm.
sparking your interest so that you'll come, either to our streams or anybody's streams and say hey
Yep.
and get the conversation going, because we still think it's a fantastic game. It's a year over for
Yep.
me, over a year since I've been playing, over a year for you, a little bit longer,
Yep.
and still loving the game. So.
Yep.
But until next time, stay safe. Again, I'm Dr. Anton,
And I'm DJ Spencer.
and we'll see you in the outlines. Take care.
I've heard you say you lost your way, lost your way again. You don't see your reflection vengeance and flame up your dream, flame up your